Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me 320 Sim Pilot, and today we're taking a look at the Waco CG-4A glider used in World War II and obviously famously used in the Operation Overlord or D-Day landings, which of course is probably by the time you see this is just past the anniversary of. But today we're going to take a look at this. This is the new famous flyer from Asobo. I believe it's made by Airplane Heaven, but here it is in Microsoft Flight Simulator. A really unique aeroplane. It is a glider, but it was obviously not a thermal glider. It was towed up behind the C-47, which is what we have sitting in front of us here. So in the new famous flyer package, you get both of these aircraft. So today we're going to take a look at the glider, and then in the future we'll have a look at the C-47. So very exciting, very interesting, and very important aeroplanes to the history of the world. So this has the stripes, as you can see, for the D-Day, the black and white stripes, but this glider was intended to load up artillery or other sort of heavy weaponry, and then they could tow it over and then release it somewhere overhead of the battlefield, and it could then glide in and land into the fields. It was incredibly important to the strategy on the D-Day landings, but it was also quite dangerous. They had a lot of crash landings, I think, with these airplanes, quite famously. It didn't have any sort of way to control it, didn't have any flaps, you just have the basic flight controls. There are some instruments in the cockpit which we'll see, and you have some cargo in the back as well. Most bits would just fall off, so the wheels fall off after takeoff, you release the tow line and so on. It's really interesting to see how this has been implemented by Airplane Heaven, so I'm excited to show it to you. And at the moment it's on sale. I paid £8.39 for both of these aircraft and £12.49 normal price, so I once again I'm impressed with the value on these famous flyers, although this is quite a simple add-on of course, but there are some unique features to it. If we look around the exterior, it is quite nice actually. I'm enjoying it. You can see mud on the wheels and so on. I like the scratched metal here, and then of course a lot of the airplane was fabric. I'm not so impressed with the texturing on the fabric parts of this airplane, but it's not terrible, and it's yeah, you can see here different PBR textures and so on, with some mud and grime and so on where it's been left out in a field or so on, waiting for preparation. Lots of these were made and used in the war. It's quite amazing actually. They made 14,000 of them, and companies such as Ford and Cessna were making them to get them out in the war effort. So let's jump into the flight deck, or what there is of it, and have a look. Inside now, and you can see we have sort of nice texturing. I think I like it a lot, and I like seeing these sort of weld marks around where it's just sort of been welded together. It does fade slightly as you get too close in, but still I think overall really nice effect. Paint worn off, scratches on the metal and so on. You know, this is not an airplane that's designed to last a long time, or one that's meant to be, you know, reused too much. It was really just to drop off the equipment, and then it had to be done, so it had to be cheap and effective, which it certainly is. Lots of handles, as you can see. Flight controls are connected in this rather weird way, which is up through the roof. So as you pull back, you can see it move the pulleys through the roof that way, and then you have a sort of a normal steering wheel for the ailerons, and I won't do the rudder because, as you'll see, that would actually set us off. But yeah, that's the flight controls we get. No flaps required for takeoff. And we have our C-47, which you can select, by the way, if you're struggling to get this airplane launched. You have to select launch mode when you're choosing your airplane in Microsoft Flight Simulator. First time I've seen that. You can see we also have some ground staff ready to help us out if we need it. So yeah, that's about it. You can also release this handle down here, and the flight deck instantly disappears above you. This is how the airplane was loaded up. So it had a cargo door at the front. So pioneering the opening nose style of loading up cargo onto an airplane. I like that a lot. Come on, back down again. Up here we have the gear release, so the gear doesn't retract, you just drop it off. We don't want it to drag us back, and we don't want our poor C-47 in front of us to have to carry that all the way over as well. And we have the tow hook release, which is this handle in the front. Down here are our instruments, so we can turn on the recognition lights to be seen. So as this is a practice mission, I'm going to have them all on, so you can see those on the top of the wing, which I assume would help the pilots in the C-47 recognize us, although everyone else as well. Turn indicator, rate of climb, airspeed. Stall's about, I think it's about 50 miles an hour stall speed. Yeah, 49 miles an hour it will stall. So yeah, this is in miles per hour. So you can get surprisingly slow. You're not going to see yourself getting up to these speed ranges. And over here we have the altimeter. So just check we have the right QNH. Good. And that is it. That's all you get. Headset to talk to the flight crew in the towing aeroplane. And otherwise, I think we're pretty much ready to go. So let's take it for a flight and see how we can go. Now in Microsoft Flight Simulator, all it can do is tow us up to 3,000 feet and then drop us off down into the into a field somewhere. So we'll see what we can find. So to signal that we want to get going, we simply have to waggle the rudder left and right, and that lets our C-47 captain know that we're ready to go. Then you'll see our colleague over there start waving. His arm is disappearing a bit. And that should be the start. Now, there's a trick to this, which I don't particularly have. Let me just get the camera right. There we go. So it's rudder only, of course, to keep the airplane as straight as possible. So not like this. There we go. Keeping it right in the middle here. C-47. It does take a while to get going. I was surprised at how much runway this whole system uses, but we are heavy. We have got troops behind us and a truck, so we are quite well loaded. Next, we're going to get ourselves into the air, and we need to make sure we get above the C-47. So I'm going to rotate here and stay above it. You do not want to get below it, or things go wrong really quickly. So we stay above it. We don't want to get stuck in its downwash. It does climb very fast, so let's get rid of that landing gear, which is that lever there. And I've lost the tow rope as well. And my C-47 has had a bad day as well. So let's keep the nose down. See if we can get it into a bit of a flare. Okay, that's working. Let's get the speed brakes up. Just try and slow it down. Bang. Okay, we better try that again. Right, let's try that again. I'm going to put on my lights. All the ones I can see. There we go. And I'm going to waggle the rudder. There we go. Spooling up. And get ready to go. So we're keeping it nice and straight with the rudder. Gentle climb. Don't want to go too far above it. It takes lots of left rudder at the start. There's a slight headwind, but it is a crosswind from the right, hence the airplane's trying to turn to the right. There's 80 miles an hour, that's pretty fast, so I'm going to start my climb and then just sit above here, no more than 20 degrees, so just above it. Let's get rid of the gear. There we go, now we're accelerating. This feels better, a bit more energy in the airplane. Don't over control, just stay slightly above it. You can see the tow line is at a good angle. Okay, we're making some progress today. We've made it past the end of the runway. That's a good sign. Into the sunshine. Tricky part here will be choosing a field. I wonder if I assume they would have planned out exactly where they wanted to land. Look at that. Awesome. What a thing to recreate. Incredibly brave people who flew these, obviously. Keeping just slightly above seems to be working better. I think I was going too high on that previous attempt. And it's causing the C-47 to nose up. Climbing at 100 miles an hour, so pretty fast. I think that's about the normal tow speed. Beautiful. What a thing to do without an engine over a battlefield and then just get dropped off. Don't want to over control, gentle inputs. Don't want to put too much strain on the tow line. Already up at 2,000 feet. They're going to drop us off. They'll only go up to 3,000. That's a limitation of the sim, so you can't recreate fully what they would have done with these airplanes during the war. But yeah, remember, 14,000 of these were flown into the air, or 14,000 were certainly made. So it's going to turn us now back round. So we try and turn with it. Don't want to put strain on that tow line. Now it's all going to happen quite quickly. It's going to... Oh, careful now. It has a lot of adverse yaw. So what I mean by that is as you put the aileron in, it yaws in the opposite direction, which is a realistic feature of an airplane like this, especially one with such big... They are big ailerons. So trying to keep it coordinated around the turn can be a bit of a challenge. Oh, we're getting a bit far off. Gently. I am using an Xbox controller as ever. That's my excuse. Okay, that's worked out. So now we're on the reciprocal of the runway. So I suppose the idea is we could head back onto that runway if we really felt like it. But I feel like we should drop it off in a field, see how all the systems work. Now we do have a speed brake lever, but to deploy it I'm not sure of the key. So yeah, see if we can get away without it. That's 3,500 feet, so that's about 3,000 feet above the airfield, so probably going to stop climbing soon. And there we go, downwind, 3,500. Clock on our left. Let's give it a go. Oh. I think it's time to get rid of the tow line. Thank you. That's gone. C-47's away. We're going to come back to our glide speed, so something like 80 miles an hour, I think. A bit slower. There we go. All goes very quiet. So, we need to find a field to land in. Wow. What a sensation. Very hard to judge. We seem to be gliding much better than I imagined we would. I was expecting it to sort of fall out the sky a bit. I think I'm going to aim for these fields over here. Let's try and land in one of those. Doesn't have a long rollout. Can land in just 200 yards, I believe. Or meters. If you got the landing right. 200 yards. No, yeah, 200 yards. Because, of course, no wheels, just skids. So, come to a quick stop. So, let's give these speed brakes a go. Now we're going to drop. Dropping like a stone. And they're not even fully deployed. There we go. Right. They are significant. So that's the only way to manage the energy. Remember, flying is often about energy management. It's no more so than when you're gliding an aeroplane. So we need to trade off between the two things. I can, if I want to get down quicker, just put the nose down, and the increased drag from flying that fast will serve the same effect. Right, I think I've overdone this. I'm not sure we'll get around to those fields now. How are we doing? Over 100 miles an hour. So let's let the airplane soak up that energy into a bit of a climb. This must have been a painfully long time to glide in if you were getting shot at. Wow. Not many open areas here. Still aiming for these sort of light brown fields over here. Let's see if we can make it. Don't want to get too slow. Still speed of 49 miles an hour. We're at 64 at the minute. Are we going to make it all over there? We shall find out. I think we'll be alright. I think we'll get there. It's looking likely. I'll just do a gentle turn from here, round and in. Of course, they had timings to meet and very precise fields to be in, and not only were they being shot at, they had other airplanes around them doing the same thing that you didn't want to hit. Unbelievable feat of bravery. Right, so you can see here, the glide ratio is exceptional. And we are really just going to sail past these fields as well at this rate. So I am going to put a bit of the old speed brake out. Try half for now. You only want to do that once you know you're definitely making it. I mean, we're clearly going to sail past these. We have a bit of a tailwind as well. Take a bit more. Just drive the airplane down. Speed is not picking up, about 95, still a bit fast. We want to land about 60. So currently aiming for here. If we aim for this second field, then we'll be landing along the crop lines or the troughs or whatever they've done to it. Probably not the smoothest field we could have chosen, but there we go. Back to half speed brake. Still 90 miles an hour, still too fast, so I'm going to take a bit more again. It should be easier if you have that axis assigned to something. Right, I don't want to land with the speed brake out, so let's put it away. Let's try and smoothen out the landing a bit. Here's our fields. 60 miles an hour, just what we wanted. There's touchdown. And look at it, just come grinding to a halt. And we're done. There we go. What a thing to do. I didn't expect this one. I didn't expect this add-on. There we go. We've delivered our goods. So yeah, really interesting. We'll have a look at the C-47 in the future, but yeah, this was a really interesting experience to get to take one of these airplanes up. I never thought I would see this in a flight simulator, really. It's really surprised me, and I think a really interesting way to teach us about some of the things that went on at the D-Day landing. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll see you again in another video very soon. Bye-bye.